Hello everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be comparing older Linux distros to older Windows OSs to see which ones are better. Now I'm going to be testing all of this on an old Toughbook with a Core i5 2nd gen to make sure all the testing is fair. So let's get right into it, starting with Ubuntu 9. As you can see, we are now on Ubuntu 9 desktop. And one thing I'd like to mention right off the bat is that it's appearing on this capture card. You guys can see it here. I can't see it on my laptop screen, meaning multi-monitor isn't supported. The built-in laptop screen just isn't working, which is a great start. So let's just have a look around. Let's test out Firefox. As you can see, now that I've opened up Firefox, we have a welcome to Ubuntu 9 message. This is just stored on an HTML file, it is not on the internet. If we go on google.com, it doesn't work. I assume the Ethernet isn't working. Check it. Yep, there's no light on the Ethernet, so I'm assuming that there's a driver issue. Brightness works, even though I can't see the screen, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, the Firefox is useless. See what we got pre-installed. Some games, Blackjack maybe. Yeah, this does not look like normal Blackjack. I don't know. Maybe we can do some basic like spreadsheet writing, or even check if the terminal's working on internet. Okay, yeah, now we know definitely this is not working. So just try and write a document or something. So now that we've opened up a word processing app, word processing does work. I can type, change the font, and presumably print. Yeah, I guess so. Don't rely on the Bluetooth functionality, that might not even work. I mean, it's detected and it's on, so it possibly works. All we know is the internet doesn't work, so it's just god awful. I don't know anything this could be useful for. Maybe you just get a USB stick with some video files and you look at this movie player. So yeah, this early iteration of Linux is unusable. I'm going to move on to the next Ubuntu iteration, which is Ubuntu 12, and hopefully we have a little bit more luck there. As you can see, now that we've gone through that wonderful installer, now we're on the desktop. I've tried a number of things off camera, if you can see here. Pale Moon is a browser that just didn't work. The executable didn't work, so I did // in a terminal. However, that needed something. ChatGPT was wrong. That browser does not work on here. I tried a newer version of Firefox, but I found out it was already installed, so yeah, let me just show you what Firefox can do. Google doesn't work, but FrogFind does. You've probably not heard of this. It's a search engine for vintage computers. This computer isn't vintage, neither is the OS, but it's the only thing that could work. If we type the old net was a website that worked. Will it work on the FrogFind HTML? Yeah, old net works on the FrogFind, but it would probably be better if you went to the actual one, not the FrogFind. Yeah, but since Internet Archive is shut down, you can't do anything fun with it. Internet Archive just doesn't work. That's for all computers at the moment, not just this one. So yeah, not much you can do on Firefox. However, you can still use it for basic office work. I don't know why you wouldn't just upgrade to the latest Ubuntu, not even latest, just a newer one, like we're going to show later, 16. It still has Bluetooth, has Wi-Fi, unlike Ubuntu 9, which is absolutely horrible. Ubuntu 9 was just not it. I'm not even sure if this works. So yeah, you can do more stuff with it. This was actually the most popular Linux back then. So yeah, that's about it. And by the way, if you wanted to actually game on this, Steam is no longer supported for Windows 7 and older, and Ubuntu something and older, probably 2016. and the only games you can probably get on here are GNOME games, and also this doesn't have Proton or anything like that because it's too old. So you have to find native Linux games, which are a pain to install and a pain to find. Well, looks like I broke it. Guess we're going to move on to the next iteration of Ubuntu. As you can see, we're now in Ubuntu 16. Not much has changed, except the installation looks a bit more modern. As you can see, we now have Ubuntu 16 installed, and I've been messing around with it a bit. This is the first OS we've done today which has apt working. First of all, before you'd have to use apt-get, and even when I used apt-get the servers were shut down. However, this I could do. This is a bad example, but it does work. Internet does work, wireless and Ethernet, because I can ping. Unlike Ubuntu 9, the only one today that hasn't worked. We're going to see later with the Windows builds, specific build, I'm going to see if Wi-Fi works, wireless. So yeah, just to start, this is the first browser where the pre-installed one is like a decent modern browser that can run modern websites like YouTube, which I'll show you now. So you can see we are now on YouTube. This is the first one where the built-in browser works. You can just go on my latest video just to test playback. As you can see, YouTube playback does work fine. Both full screen and just here. Just go in here on like 1080p. Laptop I'm using does not have a 1080p screen, but just for those that will test it, works fine. But full screen. So yeah, now we're going to test WebGL Aquarium, which is a common test we do on all our testing vids. So yeah, this is the first one that can actually do a lot of stuff and is not completely useless. So 500 fishes gets about 40 FPS, 10,000 is about 10, and 30,000 is about like 6ish FPS, so not running great there. So yeah, it's running great. You can use this for all the stuff that you could use before, like LibreOffice. Except this is probably even better than the last one's, improved, later version. So yeah, Ubuntu 16 is very good, very fast. Now I'm just going to test a quick browser game to see how this slightly old browser, it's not the latest version of Firefox, will run on games that require certain codecs and stuff. On sliver.io, it is quite buggy. However, this is the normal graphics setting. There's a lower one I could have picked, which I'm going to pick now. Obviously, it's not completely the OS or the browser. It's mostly the system, but it's partly browser. And low graphics does not make much a difference. But yeah, it's the first one where we can actually get some kind of game running. So it's quite usable for a lot of things. Definitely useful for Word documents and emails, stuff like that. If you're going to go to Gmail, you can write up emails. Basically, for most work tasks, it should run fine. Next up, I'm going to try and get an actual executable game running. So as you can see, we installed Terraria, but it didn't work, so we're just going to move on to the next OS. So Ubuntu 16, quick overview. It's the most usable so far. You could probably daily it if you don't do any demanding tasks and you're mostly in a browser. Even some websites like SourceForge didn't work, so just get a new OS, but yeah, it could do. On to the next OS. So as you can see, Windows 7 is now installed and I've been messing around with it. It's been an absolute failure. First of all, I had to manually install Ethernet drivers from a USB stick. That's as far as I could get with drivers. Graphics drivers, nothing worked. I've tried everything. So using a graphics driverless Windows 7. The Ubuntu experience has been much easier. I've managed to get a Minecraft in browser working, I guess, running at about 5 FPS, so not best, but it works. You could probably do basic YouTube on here. I tested it before on YouTube here. See, basic YouTube does work, although it would probably be better if you had graphics drivers on. So yeah, you can play the included programs like Solitaire at like 2 FPS. So Windows 7 has been a failure in general. Not as bad as Ubuntu 9, but still pretty bad right out of the box with this hardware that I have, which I'll show you now. It's the i5 2520M, 8 gigs of RAM. So yeah, that's been the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.